Well guys, it's finally actually happening now. We've been hearing rumors for so long about the Switch Pro and the next gen of the Nintendo Switch. After it's been so long of speculating, so many little pieces were coming together. I think officially today we can now confirm that the Nintendo Switch Pro, or whatever the next Switch is going to be next year. Holiday next year to be specific. This all comes from Video Games Chronicle. There's tons of articles there you can go check out. It'll all be linked in the description down below. But apparently, according to multiple people with knowledge of Nintendo's next-gen console plans, the company is likely to release new hardware during the second half of 2024 to ensure that it has an ample stock available on day one and to avoid the kind of shortages seen with PS5 and Xbox Series X. Now, apparently this information is coming in because apparently development kits for Nintendo's next console are with the key partner studios already, and they're already planning to launch this thing holiday next year, which is the information that we've been looking for. For those of you that don't know, this means that the key development studios that work with Nintendo, the different, studios that make some of Nintendo's games, now have their hands on this next console as of today, which allows them to produce future games for that hardware in mind, which is really cool, which pretty much confirms that the console is gearing up for a worldwide release next year, and they're saying holiday season is the timing for this. Now, there is some details about this. They're very, very little, but some of the details include the fact that this will also have a portable screen very similar to that of the Nintendo Switch, but apparently this screen will not be an OLED one, which is a little weird because this is clearly the best looking screen for the Switch, but apparently it's for production costs and it saves money for Nintendo, which is a little weird. It's also probably just a cash grab for them to release a better one years later, the same way they did with the Switch. So you're probably going to get a basic Switch Pro, and then years later, probably an OLED version of that Switch Pro, probably a light version of that Switch Pro. That's just how Nintendo operates. It's weird, but that's what we're probably going to get. Apparently, there will still be a physical game cartridge slot, so that's good for us physical users. We get to keep buying physical games and putting games into the Switch, and they don't really know about backwards compatibility right now. Only thing that they mention is that Nintendo has said that it's wanted to convert as many of its Switch's 100 million plus user base as possible to its next system, although some third-party publishers are said to have expressed concern that legacy support for Switch games negatively affects sales of next-gen titles. Now, that does make a lot of sense because, one thing to get people to buy a new console is games that are exclusive to that console. And I get it though, Nintendo has spent the last 5-6 years getting almost every single Nintendo game ever on the Nintendo Switch, and they still are, from GameCube to Wii to Wii U. They're putting everything on this console. It would be kind of weird though if they moved on and this next gen console could not play any of those games. After all the money that people are spending, especially leading up to this console, they're still releasing older games like Pikmin 1 and 2, and even Metroid Primes 1, 2, and 3. Apparently 2 and 3 are rumored to come very soon. So yeah, it should definitely be backwards compatibility, but at the same time, I'm hoping that there are games that can only be played on this next gen console and not played on the original Nintendo Switch. That will make people want to play, obviously, this new console, want to buy this new console. I'm just hoping they don't run into the same problem they did with the Wii U being a better, bigger version of the Wii, and people kind of slept on it. The rest of the article talks about how insiders are discussing how the Switch has ran the video game market for the last 7 years. It's actually starting to decline and projected to fall 16.5% year on year in the current fiscal, while the minus for software is expected to hit 15.9%. So it's time for Nintendo to ultimately reveal and release a new console. Things are kind of going down and plummeting for the Nintendo Switch. Things are flatlining. It's time to bring Nintendo back up to the light again. After 7 years of this console, it's time for a new one, and it just makes sense. Finally going to the holiday season like they should have released, because the Switch, if you didn't remember, released in March of 2017. Very early in the year with not Tears of the Kingdom, but Breath of the Wild. It was pretty weird for a lot of us. Getting a brand new console in the early spring was definitely a different thing for sure. I'll never forget it, but yeah, it's time to go back to that holiday season. It makes sense. That's when you get the most of those sales. But yeah, this thing is real, and it's coming, and it's coming very soon. But the question is, when does Nintendo reveal this thing? When does Nintendo talk about this? it's really unknown at this point. I'm gonna also remind you guys, there's been a lot of like little things that's been going on, and Nintendo almost seems like they've been leading up to this thing for the first point. Let me tell you, this is games that are going back through that cycle, which should be happening very soon, which just makes sense. Let's look at what we got. Smash Brothers has been a very long time. It looks like it might be getting rebooted again. Sakurai's even kind of been hinting at there can't be another Smash right now. He can't imagine another Smash right now without him. It's kind of making sense. We also probably going to be close to that release of the big 3D Mario we've been waiting for. Probably going to be a launch title. Metroid Prime 4 probably just automatically got put onto this new console from the very beginning. I mean, Mario Kart is going to finish its DLC this year, and we're not going to have a new Mario Kart for this new console yet. So that's going to be something to look forward to. Donkey Kong hasn't had anything in a long time. There's a lot of series that we can go back through and look at, like Luigi's Mansion. Still like waiting on Luigi's Mansion 4 is something that's probably definitely going to happen. There's other big titles that Nintendo is planning, I'm sure, that are going to eat on this new console, and they probably are ready to reveal some of this stuff very soon. It's about to get insane. Before we try to figure out when they're going to reveal this thing, do not expect many games at the beginning of next year. I'm glad Nintendo is still putting games out though and not leaving us in the dark like they did with the Wii U. They just kind of said there's no games for the majority of this year. We're just hyping up this NX console, and that's when we're going to get some good stuff. So yes, Nintendo is still showing Switch support. There's games planned. For instance, next year we have Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon coming. We also have the Princess Peach game, that weird new Princess Peach game. So yeah, these games are probably going to be the first part of the year. There might be some smaller games still to come, like a Mario Baseball or something, some small like sports title, or spin-off, something like that. But all the goods are going to be saved towards the end of the year, I believe. So it might be a very quiet first half of the year as we prepare for this new console, but trust me when I say it's going to be worth it, especially if it releases with a big brand new 3D Mario that people have been wanting for so long now. Now, the Switch was actually announced 6 months before it actually came out, but we knew Nintendo kept calling this thing the NX. We knew about it for a very long time before that, but the official announcement trailer for the Nintendo Switch was on September 20th of 2016, which was 6 months before ultimately it came out in, what was that, March. So yeah, it's been about 6 months, and of course they had a big presentation in January, just a couple of months before it came out, kind of showing out, blowing out the console and everything. So when can we expect Nintendo to officially show us this brand new console coming? I would not hold my breath or expect anything in this upcoming September Nintendo Direct, unless Nintendo just decides to completely not do anything this September and just has something planned for the Switch Pro reveal or something later in the year, and they just skip September's Direct. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think we're going to have a regular September Direct that we're used to. It's going to show us a lot of things that we already know, and just kind of recap things and show us some DLCs and stuff like that. Like we still have Splatoon DLC that they got to show, recap some of the games that are still coming for the rest of the year, like Mario Wonder, Mario RPG, and then, even that Wario Move It game. There's still a lot of stuff coming at the end of this year. So Nintendo wants to, kind of focus on that, tackle on things early next year, like Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, the Princess Peach game, and there might be one surprise for a game early/mid next year, but that's about it. I wouldn't expect really a whole lot of anything in the September Direct, but more recap and just keeping us in the loop for what's coming for the Switch before we move on. But I do think the following year, instead of a February Direct, we could be getting a big blowout presentation of whatever this next console is there. So definitely wait until next year before we start hearing more information about this. I don't think we're going to get any news about it this year. Once again, I think the September Direct is just going to be focusing mostly on Nintendo Switch currently, and the rest of this year, beginning of next year. But as a Nintendo fan waiting for this next console, this is a really good day to hear this. We've been waiting for this information to hear that the dev kits are officially out to all the studios, and it's pretty much about time to start getting ready for the next console. It's real now. It's actually becoming a real thing, and we can actually start talking about it. If you know, I haven't really made many videos at all on the Switch Pro until there was some type of really good concrete evidence, and today is a good day. But let me know in the comments down below, how excited are you for the Switch Pro? What last minute games do you want to see before the Switch Pro comes out to end the current Nintendo Switch? And what are you excited to play on this new Nintendo Switch? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this update and you learned something new, stop what you're doing, leave a like and subscribe. We are trying to hit 250,000 subscribers very soon. It is a big milestone for the channel, so thank you so much for all your support. And like always, I'll see you on the next one. See you guys.